What is up, race fans? It's been a minute. It's good to see everybody. I guess I can only see the three of these guys, but it's good to have you back for another exciting weekend. Before we get going into the Singapore GP preview, just some quick introductions if it happens to be your first time here. I'm Ross, the founder of GridRival. With me today, I have Michael Ursinoli, our CTO, William Laddie, our principal software engineer, and calling all the way from a noisy coffee shop in Chicago, Ryan Booth, the director of business operations. We're excited to chat with you. If you have not had the opportunity to like and subscribe to the channel, make sure you do so you don't miss out on any future shows that we do. We're here to help you finish the season strong. We're down to the last leg of the Formula One season. It's your last opportunity to overtake your teammates in your league. Recap of last event, other than being an absolutely abysmal showing for McLaren. Brutal. Oscar Piastri, rough weekend. Crashed in qualifying, crashed in the race. McLaren down $3 million. A lot of people got stung last weekend on GridRival with value. We had 10 drivers go down in value, 9 drivers go up. Total loss in value of 13.7 million. Total gains in value of 11 for a net of minus 2.7. Probably a lot of red on leaderboard pricing after last week. But it's a new weekend. So we got a lot to talk about. Again, salary recap of last race. Liam Lawson, Antonelli, and Carlos Sainz, and Yuki Tsunoda all up the maximum amount of $2 million. So those are big winners for last weekend. Anyone who had one of those four on their team, Max Verstappen up 1.1. You don't see that a lot. I mean, how many times over the last 5 years have we seen Max Verstappen go up 1.1 million in a single race? Not very common. Bortoletto up 700K. Isaac Hadjar up 500,000. Lewis Hamilton 400. George Russell 300. Oliver Behrman flat. The only driver that stayed flat after last weekend. Losers are all over the place. The only one that went down full amount, no surprise, Oscar Piastri down 2 million with a very brutal DNF. I believe that was first lap or second lap. I don't remember. It was early, very early. Had a rough start. Alex Albon down 1.8, Leclerc 1.6, Norris down 1.5, Gasly down 1.4, Stroll on the stroller coaster always. It's never flat, Lance Stroll. It's never a flat race for him. It's up or down something. Minus 1.4, Colapinto down 1.3, Alonso down 1.1, Hulkenberg down 900K, Esteban Ocon 900K. The average drop is probably over, I don't know, 1.3, 1.4. So on the constructor side, man, lots of people. If you're a triple McLaren team owner last weekend, hit us up in the chat. We want to hear from you. Michael was. You're a triple. You had all three of them.
Yeah, I was rocking all three. I got destroyed.
Yeah, that's what, five down. You had Norris, $6.5 million. Did you release them all? Did any of them drop off?
No, I don't think anything dropped off. So I'm still rocking with it. And right. Ryan overtook me in this extremely poor showing.
Ugh, that is the risk of tripling up. When it's bad, when it goes bad, it goes really bad.
I'm rocketing up the standings right now, which is great to see. You love to hear it.
It's still going to take a while for Ryan to catch me, though.
Yeah, I bet.
got like 600 or 700 points cushion.
Where are you on the global leaderboard, William?
I don't know. I will look that up while we keep going.
Let's go over constructors real quick. So as we know, McLaren down 3 million, Haas down 1.3, Ferrari down 1.1, Aston down 700K, Alpine down 0.6 on the winning side. Very evenly spread out. Lots of up value on the winning side. So you had VCarb up 1.9, Red Bull up 1.8, Williams up 1.5, Mercedes up 1.2, Kick Sauber up 200K. So call that for the most part flat. Shall we get into Singapore? Another exciting street race. We have, if you're new to the show, we break down the grid typically in 5 tiers of drivers, sometimes 6, depending on kind of what we think. And we kind of debate through each one of them and help you try to understand of each tier, which is probably the best choice going to this weekend. Ryan famously names all these. Ryans, do we have tier names today?
We unfortunately do not have tier names today. The only time that happens, it's been a little chaotic morning over here. kind of lost my voice. I'm in shambles. There's a lot going on. I'm in the crowded hotel lobby because I get kicked out of the room. It's a mess right now, but I am here. I'm here for the people, but unfortunately don't have the tier names.
It's all right. We will get through without it.
This is. I just want to add, like, this is a very unusual position for a guy like Ryan. He is a devoted Chicago Cubs fan, and they're actually winning. And I don't think Cub fans know what to do with themselves. And I say this as a Met fan. We just had one of the biggest implosions in the history of baseball.
Baseball.
There's nothing quite like playoff baseball. Love the playoffs for the stick and ball sports, but belongs nowhere near motorsports. So we can settle that debate.
Agreed. Tier 1 going into this weekend. We got 3 drivers. McLarens have been in a tier of their own for the last several races. So making a reappearance back in Tier 1 this weekend is Max Verstappen, along with Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. Look, Piastri on a heavy discount right now. Let's assume Baku was a fluke, which it was. So Singapore is another tough street course, but like there was not really an indication that McLarens were all of a sudden down on pace, unless I missed something.
What are the odds that you jump the start, go into anti-stall, and drive into a wall 2 weeks in a row?
Very low. If you're
Unless
Oscar
you're
Piastri,
If you would have told me someone did that, like Piastri would probably been the last guy, I would guess.
Yeah,
correct.
Piastri is a must sign out of this tier. Like, he is at a discount, and they were looking fast in practice once again. That was the exception, not the rule.
I'm just guessing. I'm going to look it up really quick, but I have to imagine that Piastri is at his lowest value of the season right now. Stand
Gotta
by.
be close. Australia was rough. Like, maybe Australia. Right. He was like 9th or 10th when he had that off, and he had to dig himself out of the grass.
So yeah, you are correct. He started the season at 24, which was he was way undervalued. After Australia, he dropped to 23.6, but since then, this is the lowest his price has been. So definitely of this tier, if you're having to choose one of these, Piastri is a clear window. Norris winner. Norris also, in my opinion, on a discount, not quite as big, but second lowest he's ever been in the season. So it looks like his low was Canada. Where was he at Canada? He was 26.9. So
that was when he drove into Piastri.
Yeah, so 26.9. So he's 27.3. So both on a discount. I think I'm probably not the only one. I'm still avoiding Max unless Lando or Piastri are both on lockout. I think Max is a safe play, but at 28 million, he's definitely not a discount.
Yeah, Max has never won at Singapore. That's the one track that they go to that he has yet to win on. It looks like they have at least podium pace this week. So
yeah,
I don't hate him as a choice, but you may be slightly overpaying.
Right.
Like unless you're just completely flush with cash, I probably avoid Verstappen this week, and he'll probably come down a little bit if he doesn't win. And then we can look at him for Austin, which will be a sprint weekend, by the way.
That's right. Is it the last one?
No, we have 3 sprints. So we've got Austin, Brazil, and Qatar.
Goodness.
And
they want to add more, don't they?
It'll be they keep talking about it.
I read something recently. They want to have 10.
Yeah, that's talk at this point, and there's definitely mixed opinions about that.
It'll definitely be eventually a sprint on every weekend if they get their way, which is, I think, ridiculous. That's kind of where we're trending.
There is a question on this topic from Zeroification. How do we feel about dropping Max for either Leclerc or one of the McLarens? Gosh, that's like one of those depends questions. Max is going to be an expensive drop at 28 million. You're going to be paying, close to $1 million to drop him, if I'm not mistaken, at 3%. Or it's going to depend on how many contracts races you have left, right?
And for Verstappen, it's going to be like 850-ish.
Yeah,
because the drop fee is fixed, so 3% of the current value. So it'll be about $850K. As far as do we drop him If we're going to drop him for Leclerc, I say absolutely not. I don't see Leclerc with podium pace. He's at a bit of a discount, but I do think the podium is probably McLaren, Verstappen in some order.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Alonso sneaks in. Like Alonso showed some scary pace this morning. Maybe Alonso sneaks into the mix. So I just don't see a place for Leclerc up there to where he's going to gain a bunch of value. If we're talking about swapping him for a McLaren, if it's Norris, I would say no. I don't think your value gain is going to net out to where that's a profitable move.
Mm-hmm.
If it's Piastri, I could get behind that. Like Piastri could go up close to 2 million. I haven't calculated what his maximum potential gain is this week.
I think he definitely have to get first, but
yeah, like first in fantasy points. Like Piastri could jump up considerably, and he could also score the most points. I'm less confident that Norris could do that. If we're talking McLaren as a constructor, I don't know what your constructor situation is, so I couldn't say. There is an excellent chance that McLaren scores the most points of any constructor, though.
Mm-hmm.
I will also say we don't want to sink a bunch of money into McLaren if we're going to go into a sprint next week, which is Austin. If you want McLaren for one race, cool. But we'll get to constructors later as well. So the thing to know about sprint weekends, drivers score points based on their sprint finish position. Constructors do not score any extra points for sprints. And at this point of the year, we're thinking about points.
We are.
So a little bit more than value usually. So keep that in mind. And the other thing to know is when the sprints are. So next race, 2 races after that, 2 races after that, those are your sprints. US, Brazil, Qatar.
So 5-race contract, you're 2 of those sprints at this point.
A 5-racer from Austin, you cover all 3 sprints.
Oh, yeah.
A 5-racer from now, you have them out for Qatar. You'll have them out for that last sprint. So if it's somebody that you care about having for a sprint, do 1 race, do 3 races. No, do 1 race, do 2 races, do 4 races. No, don't do 1 race. I can't count. Yeah. I'm still waking up.
And speaking of prioritizing points over value, that's why I probably would, depending on what FP3 looks like. I have no issues dropping Verstappen to sign Piastri. I'll eat the drop fee. I think there's a little more that you can squeeze out of Piastri here, especially at this price, and it's probably just worth paying it if you think Piastri is going to be much better than Verstappen, which we don't know that, but if that's how you feel, like, don't be afraid to pay a drop fee and just do it.
Michael, anything? Were you going to say something?
No, there's a really great question that came in related to sprint races. Which driver do you think would do best in a sprint race, a literal sprint race on foot?
Who's been running the marathons recently?
No, I have an answer. I think it has to be
next year. It's Bottas.
Next year it's Bottas, but this year it has to be Ocon.
Why? Because he's tall?
He's a giant compared to half the field. He's got longer legs. It's all in the stride.
Yeah, you might not be fast, man. You might not have explosive power.
I don't know. I'm just using Usain Bolt logic. He's
might not have the right type 2A muscle fibers or whatever. Okay, let's go into tier 2. We got 4 drivers in tier 2. We got George Russell, Charles Leclerc, Hamilton, and Alex Albon, making it all the way into tier 2, above talent driver cutoff.
2nd week in a row.
What a guy. Let's see. We have Albon down 1.8 after last race, Leclerc down 1.6. Who here is on a discount? I feel like Hamilton at 19.8 seems like a deal, right?
That's Pence.
No.
No.
He's got too much on his mind.
He does.
R.I.P. Roscoe.
Yeah, R.I.P. Roscoe.
Now, you know what? I think he has a great race for Roscoe.
There's also that angle, but
that is yes. Okay, hold on. I'm looking at Albon's salary for the year. No, definitely not at a low. Not anywhere close.
Yes. So if we're talking about a discount, I am considering the potential of that car this weekend to know if they're actually a discount.
The Williams.
All 4 of them. That's what I'm thinking about. And I think in the case of all four of them, I don't think anybody's a discount in this tier.
Yeah, I'm looking
Mercedes,
right now. No one really is.
I'm just going to go top to bottom. Like, I think Mercedes looks particularly bad this weekend. I'm not touching Russell. I'm not touching Antonelli. We'll get to him later. Maybe they find something overnight and they prove me wrong, like Red Bull did last week. So, like right now, I'm looking to actually drop Russell. Leclerc, that's a bit more of a question mark. 24-2, like we talked about in tier one a little bit. I'm not finding a spot for Leclerc on the podium. Like fourth or fifth might be the ceiling. So I don't know that this is really a discount per se to have him at 24-2. And we saw seconds in first practice, ninth in second practice, albeit a disrupted second practice. He also drove into Lando Norris at one point, which was a setback.
Mm-hmm.
They get off with a fine whip for that, though. Hamilton has been behind Leclerc all year. So I've already told you what Leclerc's ceiling is. So Hamilton's is one spot behind that. And I think he'll have another flat week fantasy-wise. Alex Albon, Williams is not looking like a team that's going to score points this week. So, and he's above talent driver. I'm not interested in Albon unless something wild happens overnight. I'm not interested in Albon either. So that's a long way to say I'm not that interested in this tier.
Yeah, this tier doesn't seem very appealing. There's
Amprox pointing out, like Hamilton had a couple of purple sectors during FP2 and had to get off it because of a yellow flag. So, yeah, Ferrari, like they had a couple of flashes of speed for sure. I just am skeptical of them keeping up with McLaren on race day.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, yep. McLaren also looking to clinch the Constructors' Championship this weekend. As long as they don't have a disaster, they'll do it. I think the numbers are they have to score 13 points or they have to not get outscored by a bunch by Mercedes or Ferrari. Like either of those teams would have to double podium. So McLaren might just optimize finishing out the Constructors this week, but I don't see Ferrari keeping up with them on race day. And I might eat those words. Yeah, but if you're going to take anybody out of this tier, I'm going to take Hamilton.
Yeah, that's kind of my quick breakdown too. This tier stinks. I don't really want any part of Russell or Leclerc. Just spend the extra money to get Piastri. If you're locked out of Piastri, that is a tough spot to be in. Hamilton's maybe. I don't really love it, but at 19.8, that's not that bad. And then Albon's just a stay away because he's above talent driver.
Should we move on then?
Yes, there's one question in chat I think it's just worth reiterating before we move on to the topic. Is Adam Klotz, wait, can you explain the constructor versus driver strategy for sprint races? You're saying because constructors don't earn for sprints, better to direct budget towards drivers who do earn points in sprints. Generally, the answer is yes. Generally, is that is a better strategy where that strategy doesn't take like as much of a advantage is if you are rich in the game. If you have over 125, over 130 million dollars in team value, then it's very possible that a triple McLaren is going to outscore a very well-crafted driver lineup with a cheaper constructor. But for like most players in the game who are working with like 100 to 120 million, it's for sure something to consider because those extra points do add up. It's not a ton, but when you add them all up, it can be a nice little boost. So
I'm probably not signing Alpine to go get another driver, like because like your point loss might be too much.
Yeah,
if you drop down that low. But
I think the other challenge right now too is you have McLaren at a huge discount. So that is a consideration. Is like this might be one of the only times this season you're going to be able to sign McLaren for $26 million after they just dropped 3. So that's one thing to consider. All right, let's go to the third tier. This tier also super challenging because there's some hot movement in here, but these guys all went up. 3 out of the 4 of them went up to the full 2 million. Isaac Hadjar went up a half. Lawson, Antonelli, and Sainz all up $2 million after last race. So Signs has been on a heater. Signs for the season. Oh, I just got what happened there. Just looking at his salary here. He is certainly not at his peak. His peak was kind of right after Miami and Monaco. He was up towards close to 17. So it's possible that he has another solid race or two. I mean, if his performance at Singapore, which is a very similar street style circuit as anything like last weekend, third place was kind of undeniable. And then you had Antonelli in fourth and Liam Lawson in fifth. So I don't know. This one's tough for me. What do you guys think? William, where are you at?
Where am I at? So Antonelli is an easy cross off the list. Like I said, Mercedes is not looking fast. I don't like him any more than I like Russell this week. Just not their track, just not their week, it seems. So cross him off the list. Sainz, I think, has caught up to Albon. I think they finally started to gel at Williams with this team move. Got the podium at Azerbaijan. That was somewhat buoyed by a very bizarre Q3 that gifted him a front row start, and he was able to hold on to that. I wonder if the skies would have opened up that day and he would have ended up on pole because nobody could have set a lap. I wonder if he could have held off Verstappen from pole. That would have been a really fun race to watch. Too bad we didn't get that race. So Sainz top 10 in both practice sessions today. I like Sainz. At a discount to his teammate, I think he could beat his teammate now. So Sainz, I think, is takeable. Racing Bulls are tough to figure out. Hadjar was fast in both sessions. Lawson was slow and or crashed in both sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And Hadjar has been the better of the two. I think Lawson's a little bit inflated. Again, he got gifted a good starting position.
Lawson's at his highest. Lawson is now at his highest salary for the whole year, minus his opening race, which he is way overpriced.
He was also in a Red Bull that race.
Oh, that's right.
Subsequently got demoted.
Yep. So he has been, if you look at his salary chart, he has been actually kind of ping-ponging back and forth, and the last 4 or 5 races slowly been working his way up. But I don't know. I feel like at close to 16 million, he just feels like a risky buy.
Yeah. Then again, I'm saying buy Hadjar at even more than that, and they're driving the same car.
Yeah.
So I like Sainz and Hadjar out of this tier. I don't like Lawson. He's not consistent enough, and he's been consistently behind Hadjar. That's the one thing he's been consistent at, getting beat by his teammate. And I don't like Antonelli. Like I said, Mercedes just not looking great this week.
But I'm surprised you said that Sainz, William, because I put Mercedes and Williams in kind of the same handicap for Singapore due to the heat.
Yeah, so the heating, for those of you who don't know, the FIA preemptively declared a heat hazard for the entire weekend, to where the drivers are going to have to either run a cool suit or they're going to have to carry extra ballast. The fact that it's hot also tends to not bode well for Mercedes-powered cars, which, by the way, the McLarens are both Mercedes-powered, and we've seen every Mercedes-powered team lose at least one engine this year. So there is that bit of a reliability question mark. That said, there is more to a car than the power unit. And I do think Williams might have figured something out with the Arrow that's better at a track like Singapore than what the factory cars have. But yes, same power unit, you still have that same liability. So McLaren, Mercedes, Williams, and Aston all do bear that risk of power unit issue.
Ryan, any thoughts?
I don't really like anyone in this tier. I actually view them all just very similarly. Like, I think they're all just upside is probably finishing P8, P9, getting some points. But I don't really love any of them. I guess if I had to choose, I'd say Hadjar just because he's looked better in the practice sessions. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. But I'm not running to try and sign any of these guys. But if I had to take one, it'd be Hadjar. And at the same time, I'm probably not paying drop fees to cut them. It's just if you have them, you've got them.
Yeah. All right. Tier 3. You got Alonso in the Aston Martin, Oliver Behrman. Both of those guys at 14.3 million. Tsunoda 14.2. Bortoleto 13.9. So this is a very close one. Sonoda was up 2 million last event. His chart like this. Look at this. That's where he's been the whole season. So it went down. So he's kind of finally starting to maybe make a comeback. Anyways, up 2. Oliver Behrman stayed flat last weekend. Alonso down 1.1. What are we thinking?
I think Alonso is the mandatory talent driver this week based on his practice speeds.
Agreed, 100%. It's sign Alonso, making your talent driver. He should be on, unless something weird happens overnight. He should be on pretty much every single roster tomorrow at this price, and he should also be the talent driver.
Mike, you have any thoughts?
Alonso's. I'm off mute. Yeah, Alonso's the only standout to me here. I don't want Bortoleto when I can have Hulkenberg for cheaper. So I don't think I've rostered Sonoda at any point this season, and that's been fine for me. I'm happy to go the whole season not rostering him. Sorry, Yuki. So yeah, just Alonso. For me, I'm looking at Alonso and Hadjar for talent driver. Gonna wait till FP3 to kind of make a final decision. But I also wouldn't hate having Hadjar and Alonso on a points optimized team.
So out of this tier, I stole the virtues of Alonso. I also do like Sonoda, actually. Since Horner got fired, Mekis has been running this like a 2-car team for the first time in years. And it's showed. Sonoda is getting a lot more competitive. Sonoda is getting in the points. And I think Sonoda is rosterable out of this tier. Behrman and Bortoleto, I'm not so excited about. It's not so much a Bortoleto versus Hulkenberg thing. Bortoleto has been competitive with Hulkenberg this season, but I just don't think he's competitive this week in particular. And I'm not thrilled to have a rookie on a street course either.
And a hot street course. That's why I want Hulkenberg is what is he, 10 versus 13.9. I'd rather go with someone who's lived through many Singapores.
Yeah, or maybe somebody who's from a climate where it gets hot and humid a lot.
William and I are really on the same page this week, because I was just going to say I believe in Yuki Tsunoda. He's definitely, Alonso is the standout here by far, but right under him I think is Tsunoda. I'd rather have Tsunoda than anyone else we talked about from the non-talent driver territory right now. I would take Tsunoda over and either the V carbs, maybe not Antonelli, and similar to Sainz, but I don't know. I think Red Bull's found something, and Yuki seems to be in pretty good form right now. So I have no problems with rostering Yuki Tsunoda.
For Sonoda and Alonso, what do you guys think in terms of contract length?
That's the interesting question.
Like, are you going 4 or 5?
Well, I don't know. I can't buy into Aston. They look so completely different from track to track. And they're it's so heavily dependent on how they look in practice. Because I've wanted no part of Aston Martin for a few weeks now, and after seeing what we saw here, I'm like, oh, I need Aston Martin all over the lineup this weekend. But just because it seems so finicky, I don't really want them for a long deal.
They're track dependent. What I tend to do with them, though, is lock them up for a long time, and they won't be that expensive to drop if they look like garbage one Friday. And so then you have them out for the week where they're garbage. And whoever you take, there's still like 7 more races to go. So you're going to have everyone out at least one more time this year. So for me, I'm probably timing my Aston drivers such that I have them out for Mexico or for Vegas and not miss a sprint race. For Aston, the constructor, I'm okay signing them through to where I have them out for a sprint race potentially. And if they look bad, I drop them, and that's fine. So all that said, for drivers, like I'm thinking 2 races or 4 races so that I have them out for either Mexico or Vegas if I'm signing them. and I want them for a sprint.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going. Well, I have. Sorry, I don't have Sonoda, but Alonso, I'm going 3 races. I just feel like to Ryan's points, like it just feels a little risky to go long on Aston Martin. Okay, last tier, 5 drivers, spanning from 6.3 million to 11.4. You have Ocon 11.4, Hulkenberg 10.5, Stroller Coaster at 10.3. We got Gasly. William thinks he's going down. Gasly at 8.5. Cole
I think he went down. Like now we might be at the inflection point.
You think he's at the bottom?
Maybe. Like, have we run through all the drivers first? I want to interrupt.
Oh yeah, we have. So
okay.
I mean, so why don't you get into it? Let's go. What do you think?
I think this could be the inflection point for the Stroller Coaster. Yet another inflection point where we could see a good week out of Stroll. I think finishing in the points is a realistic possibility for Stroll if he manages to avoid hitting the wall. Which
here's his topographic look at the coaster.
There's the Stroller Coaster. Should I be looking at that from right to left on my screen?
I don't know, but he's certainly not at a low point. His low was at 6. I mean, he was about as low as we know.
Aston had a rough start to the year.
Yeah.
So very much. So out of this tier, Stroll I think could finish in the points. Ocon might flirt with it. He's potentially takeable. The only way I'm touching Alpine is if I need the funds to make a much better signing. Like I would take Colapinto if that's the difference between affording Russell and affording a McLaren driver, or the difference between affording Leclerc and affording a McLaren driver.
Yeah.
Like then I could take an Alpine because I think McLaren would be a tremendous upgrade over Leclerc or Russell. But otherwise, I don't touch Alpine because Alpine is terrible. And they're still terrible.
They've had a rough go. Yeah, Hulkenberg has had a rough go. I mean, Hulkenberg, he's had some strong showings, but he's been his performance has been very episodic this season as well, hasn't it? Yeah, man, he was up to 16 million. He has had a rough 5 races.
Yeah, that podium feels like a long time ago.
Yeah, geez Louise. Down 1.8, down 100, down 1.4, down 2 million, down 900 the last 5 races.
I think that's Sauber coming back down to earth, honestly.
Yep.
And I imagine they're starting to look ahead. So when they're going to become Audi next year.
Ryan Booth, what's your call here?
Yeah, stop me if you've heard this one before, but Lance Stroll is my favorite driver in this tier, and it is not close.
Favorite driver on the grid, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yeah, usually week to week. Number 1 in my heart, that's for sure, but not always number 1 in the lineup. But this week he is finding his way onto all of my lineups. I think he should have a strong showing. The Aston Martin clearly has pace here. We've seen it with Alonso, and Stroll even showed it in FP2. So, yep, Stroll is on every lineup at 10.3.
Man, I feel like I'm not there yet.
Yeah, it's hard. It's like, because what it sounds like we're saying is triple Aston Martin on a sprint weekend, which is like
this is not a sprint weekend.
Sorry, triple Aston Martin, but then we have a sprint weekend coming up.
Yeah.
So
and we might triple them again.
I can't do that. That's not good for my mental health.
I struggle with that. I struggle with that. Like I wouldn't fault anyone, including myself, for staggering out Aston Martin right now if they end up going on a heater, and let anyone who takes the risk of a triple Aston Martin just have the win if it works out.
Well, here's the thing though. If Aston Martin works out, not only are they going to outscore you, they're going to potentially pick up like 6 million or so in value.
True, very true.
And now you're buying a top tier driver that you couldn't before.
To that point, just remember, so much of our commentary is very contextual. If you are like real close in your league, or let's just say you're 4th and you have a a huge gap. You know, playing it conservative, you're probably not going to clear 1,000-point gap by the end of the season unless somebody like forgets a lineup or something. So maybe you have a YOLO weekend and you go triple Aston. So just remember, a lot of this is contextual. If you're in second place in your league, a couple 100 points behind the leader, you maybe want to play it a little more safe. I think Mike talks about the contrarian play a lot. So just keep it in mind as we talk through all these. So it sounds like the universal advice is Lance Stroll. You guys think he's gonna ascend?
Lance Stroll will not let you down this weekend.
Ascend to another drop.
Don't listen to Mike and his Stroll derangement syndrome. He's such a Lance Stroll hater. We are a pro Lance Stroll podcast. He's going to be good in Singapore.
Something else I'll mention, particularly given the history of Alpine, they did make a few tweaks to the track this year, and the crash gate corner is no longer there. Just saying.
Oh,
so just in case Briatore gets any ideas in his head about trying to make things work for Gasly,
he would never do that.
Can't
again.
do that.
He would never do that again, would he? Okay, so we get into constructors. We got we're running low on time. We need to get to Williams' $100 million lineup of the week. There was somebody who specifically said it is his first weekend on GridRival, and so he's looking for some pointers. So Scott,
I'm going to have a lineup that you can afford. Like my $100 million lineup. That's what you start with, and
that's right.
Yeah, stay tuned for that. I do that every week.
Hopefully you're still here, Scott. Okay, tier 1, we only have 3 tiers with constructors. We got McLaren, Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari, span in value of 26.1 to 22.3. That is a tight grouping for the top 4 drivers. Thanks to McLaren having a just terrible weekend. The most you can drop in value or increase in value on this game is as a constructor, and it's $3 million. You don't see it a ton, but last weekend we saw it. So McLaren, tough decisions to make because of what we talked about. We have 3 sprint races coming up, and it's the one point in the year where you have a lot more of an advantage with a driver over a constructor. Or you have an advantage. It's not always huge, but I mean, if you have a winning driver wins a sprint, they do get 20 points, which can be, again, depends on the position you're in your league and what you're trying to accomplish, but it can certainly be an edge. So that's something to consider. But I think, let's get the obvious out of the way. McLaren is on a discount. If you're looking to add a blue chip top tier constructor, I just don't see how any of you could make the case for anyone that's not McLaren in this tier, but you might try.
I think McLaren is, like most weeks, is such an upgrade over the next best constructor that it might even be worth sacrificing a few of those sprint points to just sign McLaren long term.
Yeah.
Because McLaren is that much better. McLaren is a team that's expected to double podium, if not 1-2, every single weekend. You can't say that about Red Bull. They have one car that can win, and they have one car that can maybe score points. Ferrari, one guy can podium, one guy will probably score points. Mercedes, God only knows. So those points, I think those points are going to outweigh whatever you might get signing a driver who's going to get you 10 more sprint points. So I think if you can swing McLaren, I'd say just lock up McLaren. Try and figure out what track might be their worst of the 7 remaining and set your link to where they're going to miss that week. Like if you think for some reason they're going to be bad at Mexico, do 2 races and they're out for Mexico.
I'm going maximum amount McLaren.
Okay, yeah, full distance. That's also a choice.
And everybody that's in my league that I'm competitive in is working right now, so nobody will hear my strategy.
They're definitely not going to watch this back on YouTube either. So 5 races from now, that has him out for Vegas, I think.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
and maybe that's the choice. Like have him out for a street course.
Yeah.
Look at the last street course. That didn't go so good for them.
That's right.
One of their guys jumped the start, went into anti-soul, and drove into a wall. You never know.
In my league, that is my kind of personal friends league. I'm in second place at a disadvantage of 500 points. So it's still possible. It's still possible.
It's very possible.
It's very possible. Ryan or Michael, any thoughts on tier one? Anything to add?
Every lineup that I have a lot of money in, I have McLaren for 5 or McLaren currently on contract. Like I'm not letting one bad showing make me make any different moves on the contracts where I could afford to have them plus other top drivers.
In my lineup where I have McLaren, I'm keeping McLaren.
Ryan says the vacuum is out in the hotel lobby, so he has typed his comments into the chat feed. He says McLaren or nothing for me in the top tier.
That's a sensible choice.
Yeah, I agree. Well, then let's move on. I mean, no need to waste time. Tier 2, V-Carb, Williams, and Aston Martin.
Aston.
This is where we get into the problem. Now,
really?
Well, we're telling people to triple Aston Martin. It's just crazy.
No. Just whoa. We're not.
People come here for advice.
We are not telling people to triple Aston Martin.
That's my advice. That's my advice.
We are
Ryan agrees.
We are simply opining that in each of these tiers in which an Aston happens to exist, that they are the best of that specific tier.
So
that's
I think
the disclosure I will give.
I think Aston's the second best choice for constructor this week. I think McLaren's the best choice. Aston's the second best choice. Williams, I'm not interested in. Racing Bulls, I'm not interested in. Those are both considerably more expensive than Aston, actually.
Yeah, and they both just went up quite a bit in value. You have V-Carb up basically 2 million, Williams up 1.5. Like, definitely not a discount in any situation for those two. Aston Martin could be at a discount for sure.
And they're looking like they could have a massive weekend. Even a weekend where they both score points, you're going to gain some value and you're going to gain some points.
I don't have a problem with Aston Martin as a constructor. I think it is a smart move. I will have lineups with Aston Martin on it for sure, because there is a potential for a $3 million gain and tons of points. But, I really got to tell everyone to, hedge their bet on a triple Aston Martin. It's like,
how would you hedge it?
I would hedge it by having Aston Martin as the constructor to take the maximum benefit of the
spread it out a little bit, diversify your risk.
No, I want the money. Like, even though I'm focusing on if I'm focusing on a cheap constructor, it's for two reasons. One, I'm optimizing for my budget for my drivers, or I think there's a chance to exceed a $2 million increase in value, which you just can't get with a single driver. So if I could deploy $12.8 million of capital and get back, a 3 on top of that in one race, I would totally roll a dice with a one race Aston Martin contract, and have my coverage there, because I want the money, because I just lost a ton of money tripling McLaren.
So you're not taking Alonso? Like you're just taking Aston, or would you not also take Alonso at least?
That would depend on FP3 for me. I'm not taking. I can't see a lineup where I'm tripling. I could see myself running Alonso, but I think I'm going to be running Alonso where I have McLaren as my constructor, and I'll run probably Hadjar where I have Aston Martin as my constructor. I could sub out Alonso for Hadjar if I believe in it. I've been burned by Aston Martin so much. I can't.
The tricky thing also at FP3, it's the same thing as FP1. It's at the same time of day, which is before it even gets dark. And it's like that won't align with the hours that the race is going to be taking place on Sunday. So the track will be a bit warmer.
Yes. Yeah. Also a fair point. But yeah, I just been burned by Aston Martin so much that I just have a hard time signing Aston Martin unequivocally, even, just from practice results.
Stephen
question
Hellman
from Adam had a question. Sorry. If McLaren goes 1-2, do they gain 3 million this weekend? The answer is no. So the ceiling for a constructor's value is 30 million, which McLaren has touched this year. The way the formula works, it's fully explained on the app. If you go to settings, they have the game rules, and there's a page there that explains the whole formula. what happens is we rank the teams and the drivers by fantasy points, and we take the assigned value for that slot, and you take the difference of that and the current value, and then divide that, I believe, by 4 for F1. And that number, 30 minus 26.1, that's 3.9. Divide that by 4, that is below 3. So like, they're not going to gain 3 million, but they will gain. And they're going to get you a lot of points. If they finish 1-2, that's the most points you can score from a constructor.
Anrock says she would quadruple Aston Martin this week if she could.
Back to what you were going to say, Ross. Sorry.
Yeah. Stephen Hellman asked, how many total players are in the F1 league? I would say it's something like 100,000 started the season. How many are active at this point? I would guess 60 to 70% of those. So that gives you some idea. If you're in the top 100, you are doing incredibly well.
On the global leaderboard, by the way, my company league team is 156th.
Wow.
Despite suffering the Piastri problems at Baku.
Yeah, I mean, the top 1,000 is good.
I'm 330. I was 100 and I was low hundreds, and now I'm 338.
Dude, I'm 18,004.
Yeah.
I mean, and I built the game. Like, I actually created the mathematics. So just to give you an idea, 100 is really good.
All the smartest people are saying take Stroll. Then you got Mike and Ross saying don't do it. So listen to William and I.
Yeah, just for fun, I'm gonna just read off the company league standings real quick.
Whoa.
Yeah, so like, I'm up top, and then you've got Ryan about 670 points behind me,
who just overtook me.
That's right. And you've got Mike in third place, about 130 points behind Ryan. And then one of our other team members is sitting in fourth. And then you have Ross sitting about 2,700 points behind me.
But I do have the best team name of the four of us.
One could make that argument, yes.
Expecto Patronos.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah, just to get that record straight.
Last tier, we are running out of time. Let's do this one quick because William, you got to get your $100 million lineup in. Three teams. We got Kick, Haas, Alpine. I mean,
it's
Haas
hard to,
probably.
It's hard to envision a scenario where you can afford one of those two, but not Aston.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you tell me you must pick whoever is going to score the most points of these three, the answer is Haas. The only way I'm touching Alpine, like I said earlier, is the same reason I would take Colapinto, is if that's the difference between affording Leclerc and affording a McLaren driver. Alpine, it's probably going to be the last two cars running.
Anhrox made a point earlier. He said if you don't have a lot of salary, Haas wasn't horrible last weekend. They're better than the Sauber and Alpines, but maybe Ocon is a better value.
Yeah, Haas is definitely better than Alpine. I think this week they're better than Sauber. I agree with that. And I also agree that Ocon is the faster of the two drivers so far in practice, and he's cheaper. So, yeah, if we're taking a Haas driver, I would lean Ocon. He's also more experienced. Remember, Behrman's a rookie on a street course.
Yeah, I don't have any commentary to add. Ryan, if you or Michael do, speak now, or we will move on.
There are three signable constructors, in my opinion, for this weekend. One is McLaren, two is Aston Martin, and then three is Alpine if you just have no money. But, there's something to be said for that, and keep them for next week for the sprint. So, like, Alpine will probably find their way into some lineups, and that's okay. That's just the way it is. There's nothing wrong with it.
People want merch, man. Always they want merch. We're trying to raise money right now. So if we are successful, we will do a run of merch. We will commit to a run of merch.
Maybe we pivot into a fashion brand, like we become AlphaTauri.
Maybe we should.
Everyone who wants merch, just send me a Venmo for $200, and I'll figure something out.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, we are done. We got 10 minutes left. William, do you want to hit us with your $100 million lineup?
$100 million winner. First, let's go over the one from Baku. That one was Leclerc, Hamilton, Antonelli, Talent driver, Sainz, Ocon, and Williams. And Ocon was the only miss in that lineup. Ocon had a bad day. Everyone else did pretty darn good. That $99.3 million lineup scored you 1,038 points. So for all our new players out there, you can be starting from scratch and you can have a 1,000-point week, which is a massive week in this game if you can hit 4 figures. All that said, let's head to our Singapore lineup. This is a total of 99 million. I am tripling Aston. I'm saying that up front. I'm tripling Aston. I have Piastri, Hamilton, Hadjar, Alonso, Talent Driver, Stroll, and Aston Martin for 99 million. If you want to play with this lineup, like maybe you actually swap Hamilton out for Carlos Sainz Jr. if they look good still in third practice, and Ferrari's looking kind of mid. I don't hate that. And then your lineup's something like 96 million or something. Spending your entire budget is not necessarily the way to score the most points in this game. That's the thing to know in particular. You see it more with IndyCar and NASCAR because of the diversity of tracks in those sports, but the most expensive lineup is not always the highest scoring lineup. In fact, the $100 million lineup is not always the highest scoring lineup. Like I can sometimes get you a better lineup for 96 million. So don't fall into the trap of spending all of your budget. That's one of my biggest pieces of advice, actually.
True.
Like whether you're new or whether you've built some budget over time, spending every dollar is not the object of the game. Scoring the most points is the object of the game at the end of the day.
Great advice. Any final commentary from Mike or Ryan? Nothing.
I saw a comment earlier asking if we watch all the practice sessions, and it's hard to do at 2 a.m. Yes, I do. I just accept that on these weekends I just don't sleep. But yes, I do watch every single practice session.
I watched most of both sessions this morning. I had it be up as tech backup in case something broke. So yeah, I'm online this weekend during F1.
If any of you play our picks game, our paid entry game in the US, all of the pricing on that game Ryan sets. So he is watching closely like a hawk every event. On that, we will close. We will end. We hope that you enjoyed this weekend's race. For those of you in the Lance Stroll fan club going all in on Aston Martin, good luck.
Check out our Discord if you want to have more lineup discussions.
That's right. Join the Discord, and we will hope to hear report back from all of you. Triple Aston Martin players at the next event.
Real quick before we go,
oh yeah,
I do apologize. A sincere apology to all the viewers for not having tier names this morning. They will be back for the next race.
And our next race is at a much more reasonable hour. It is half an hour down the road from me at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. So the hours will be much more reasonable. We haven't figured out a show time yet, if we can time it after both practices or not. That's an exciting event. We've all been a few times, and yeah, looking forward to that.
All right, on that, we will end. Everybody enjoy the weekend, and we look forward to seeing you for the U.S. Grand Prix. See you later.